Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. We have looked at a lot of conjunctions, yogas, doshas, and we have seen how the planetary energies comes together in various yogas and influences the personality, influences the output, influences the results, influences the abundance, the prosperity, as well as challenges in our lives. But what are yogas? Yogas are nothing but sharing of energies. There are many yogas which some planetary entities come together and form, some of which have been defined, some of which have not been defined as yogas. But what are yogas? Yogas are combination of energies of planets coming together in some associations, either placed together, which is the strongest yoga that one can have, a conjunction that one can have, or in mutual aspect to each other, or in kendra to each other, or in certain specific placements from each other. So these are yogas, these are conjunctions, these are complementing energies coming together and giving rise to some yogas, Raj yogas, Dhana yogas, and also sometimes challenging yogas. So I am going to talk about one entity or one combination which is very, very important in the horoscope, but sometimes we tend to overlook it because we are too caught up in yogas, conjunctions of planets placed together or in kendra to each other. What I am talking about is planets which are in mutual aspects to each other and how do these aspects influence each other. I have made another video of other planetary aspects on Saturn, but here I want to have a more holistic overview of what planetary aspects on each other mean, because it's a different thing from when planets are aspecting one planet in their entirety, and a different thing when they are being under mutual aspect from each other. So planet can influence the other only one way, where Saturn is aspecting other planets with its third aspect. So this is a one-way traffic. It's only Saturn's aspect on the other planet. No other planet can aspect Saturn back, because if the planet is in the third placement from Saturn, say if Saturn is in the Lagna and a planet is in the third house, then the planet will have to have 11th aspect on Saturn. No planet has 11th aspect, and so no planet can aspect Saturn back when Saturn is aspecting the planet with its third aspect. So here we are not talking about one-way traffic where the one planet is influencing or aspecting the other. Here we are talking about two planets which are in mutual aspect to each other, either with the common aspect, which is the 7th aspect, which means planets are opposite to each other, or with a special aspect where one planet is aspecting the other with its special aspect and the other planet is also aspecting the first planet with another special aspect. So let's jump into and find what happens when planets aspect each other and what is the overall energy which influences the person. So firstly, whenever a planet is aspecting another planet, it will continue to contain its true manifestation, its true characteristic, its true attribute. So Mars aspect will be about go-getting energy, pushing the other person or the other planet, showing energies, assertiveness, aggressiveness and goal-orientedness. And the other planet will push Mars with its own energy. Say if the other planet is Sun, then Sun will also push for leadership, seeing the larger perspective, seeing the overall goal, and the king will always push for the topmost, the highest of results. And so Sun and Mars energies aspecting each other is a very powerful energy. Each pushes the other to give a certain characteristic to the individual. So Mars will give urgency to the planet Sun wherever it is placed and attributes of that house. So if Mars is placed in the 4th house, Sun is placed in the 10th house, then Mars with its 7th aspect on the Sun will push the individual in the manners of career to push harder, to push stronger and to hurry up the manifestation and do more. Whereas Sun in the 10th house will be leadership and looking at the larger picture, looking at the larger goal and achievement and conquering. So Mars, the general working for the sun and pushing the sun. Such a person will be a very, very strong leader, will be a very time bound leader, will be a hard taskmaster, and task comes first, relationships come second. Nothing else is important, but the project is important, the overall output is important, the market share is important. Mars and Sun aspecting each other in the 4th and 10th house, with Mars in the 4th and Sun in the 10th, is the strong, powerful leader, which is a no nonsense leader, and each is pushing the other with its own energy. So whatever aspect you see of one planet aspecting the other, they are pushing each other, and each one of them is adding a certain characteristic to the other planet and reducing a certain characteristic also of the other planet. For example, Mars and Sun aspect each other. What is Sun doing? Sun aspecting Mars and saying, you are the general, but show better leadership. Don't rush into challenges and problems and try to conquer without keeping in mind the overall objective, because Mars is about battles, but Sun wants to win the war. So Sun keeps reminding Mars that you don't only win battles for me, battles are important, but I want to win the war. So don't rush into things, be a good leader, have a leadership framework and not just a getting the objective framework. So Sun aspecting Mars will make Mars be a better leader, a stronger leader at home when Mars is placed in the house, in the 4th house. And Mars aspecting Sun in the 10th house means Mars is pushing the Sun, the leader, to hurry up and to be more aggressive on the time, more aggressive on the intent, more aggressive on getting and achieving. And says leadership is important, but action is more important. If you are fast on acting, you are an active leader, you are a hands-on leader, you are a leader who gets their hands dirty, then you will have a stronger following, you will have more power. So Mars adds to the power of the Sun, and Sun adds to the urgency and the leadership perspective of Mars when they are mutually aspecting each other. And hence, whenever you have two planets affecting each other and influencing each other through their aspects, overall combination of energies is important. While individual planetary entities will work in the house, but how they influence each other and what the overall dimension will always be each pushing the other with its own energy and reducing some energy of its which is not conducive or complementary to the other planet. So what is not complementary to Sun is to rush into dangers. So Sun is pushing the Mars to not to rush into dangers but to think leadership, whereas Mars pushes Sun to hurry up, to be more time bound and to be a good leader definitely, but also to think like a general. And that's how the complementary energies of Sun and Mars aspect on each other come through. Now I'm not going to talk about all the aspect on each other. Say for example, Sun aspecting 8 other planetary entities and all of them aspecting Sun back, and then Jupiter doing the same, Saturn doing the same, Mars doing the same. Too many combinations. I'm going to talk about a few combinations and the important ones. All combinations are important, but I'm going to talk about some of them, and I'm going to make a separate video on each planetary influence on the other, which is going to be a long series. So look forward to that. But the start is this particular one video where I'm going to talk about complementary energies of planets influencing each other and giving an overall different dimension, a different characteristic to each other, which is an overall different combination and works in a different manner from general characteristic of the planet. Let's talk about Saturn and Mars. Now Saturn and Mars are a very, very unique combination. Firstly, both of them can aspect each other with the 7th aspect, but they can also aspect each other with the 10th and 4th aspect. For example, if Saturn is in the Lagna and aspecting Mars, which is placed in the 10th house with its 10th aspect, then Mars can aspect Saturn back with its 4th aspect. And so that's why these two planets have a very unique combination. The uniqueness is also because of Mars getting exalted in Capricorn, which is Saturn's Saturn sign. However, Saturn getting debilitated in Mars sign, which is in Aries, and so it's a unique combination. So what happens when Saturn and Mars aspect each other with its 7th aspect or the 10th and the 4th aspect? Now what is Saturn? Saturn is the dark energy, but it's a very karmic planet. It is a planet of karma and karmic equalization. Mars is a general which wants to achieve everything for the king, for the soul, and one of the critical aim of Mars is to let the king, the soul, achieve moksha, and that's why Mars has the 4th and the 8th aspect. 4th house is also the house of moksha and the 8th house is also the house of moksha. So Mars special aspects are moksha bringing aspects. Saturn's aspects, the 3rd aspect is about effort, whereas its 10th aspect is about karma, doing your duty. So when Saturn is aspecting Mars, it is aspecting Mars to be more duty bound, to follow rules and regulations, to follow order, to follow conventions. Whereas Mars says rules, regulations are important, but achievement, winning, conquering is very, very important. If that means I need to cut some corners, I need to be more strategic, I need to be more diplomatic, I need to be more tactful. I don't need to be slimy like Rahu, I don't need to cheat, but some tricks, some tacts, some diplomacy, some different strategy to conquer is good. Saturn says to achieve moksha, you also need to give up the karmic debt. You can't just rush towards moksha and try to get it, because that's not the way you will get it. You cannot get moksha without following rules, regulations, conventions, tradition and authority. Mars says, I am the authority, I am the general, so whatever I do is fair. So conquering is important and getting to moksha is important. Saturn says, without following your duty, without giving off your karmic debt, without equalizing your karma, there is no moksha. So Saturn puts its reins on Mars, trying to slow down the general and put some thought into the general, whereas the general tells Saturn that, okay, if you don't act, you don't win. So you can't just talk about rules, regulations, commitment, loyalty without acting. Acting on the karma is more important, and so you need to act first, put the foot forward first while following the rules and regulations. But you cannot have rules and regulations put a rein on you, put that the dog collar on you and hold you back. So those are very balancing energies. This is a powerful aspect on each other. Mars is fire and Saturn is the oil. Very, very fiery combination. It could be a leader who is very duty bound, who follows rules and regulations, but it's also very thoughtful, is a good planner. This is more of a doctor and engineer. This is also the combination of a surgeon, and in surgery you need to plan, you need to look at the x-rays, you need to have a discussion with the other doctors, with your staff. Before you get into the surgery, you need to look at the blood pressure, you need to look at anesthesia, you need to look at complications, and then you go and do surgery. So that's why Saturn is the work which is done before all the planning, the organized manner and the technical attributes of the surgery or the act. Mars is about being fearless, not thinking, not shivering, when you're cutting open the wound and going and getting to the bottom of where the problem lies, extricating it and taking the problem away and conquering the disease. So it's a potent combination. It's a combination of engineers, it's a combination of doctors, it is a combination of surgeons, it is a combination of all those people who are in hazardous professions, and it's also a position or a placement of middle management leaders and powerful leaders. On the other hand, Saturn and Jupiter. Jupiter is wisdom, but Jupiter is also expansion. Jupiter says that it is wise to think beyond the box. It is wise to relook at rules and regulations and make corrections and change things if the situation requires. And Jupiter says things that it is unwise not to change, not to go with the times, not to think out of the box. Saturn says you can't change or you can't repair something which is not broken. If something is not broken, don't try and repair it. If something has worked for centuries together, stick to it, be loyal to it, be committed to those rules and regulations, follow traditions, follow conventions, follow policies, follow procedures, and you will gain. The journey may be slow, but it is sure, it is steady, and there is a success at the end of the tunnel. Jupiter says that no, without pushing boundaries, without being wise, without being current, without expanding your horizons, without going out to learn from others, without using other people's wisdom, other people's convention, other people's support, you can't really achieve. Again, a very, very strong and powerful placement, powerful aspect on each other, which is about rule of law, which is about law, which is about justice, which is about being the strongest of the leaders. Jupiter and Saturn is one step beyond Mars and Saturn. This is not the surgeon, but this is the one who's running the hospital, for example, or running the organization, or being one of the topmost leaders of the organization. It is just one rung below the managing director. This is the COO, the chief operating officer, who holds all the reins on a day-to-day basis, who holds most power. But the direction can come only from Jupiter and Sun. We'll get to it in a minute. So Jupiter and Saturn push the boundaries, be wise, but follow conventions and act wisely, with planning, with organization. And supreme authority, topmost authority, these are the Supreme Court judges, these are the excellent lawyers, the top of the line lawyers, these are the COOs, these are also CEOs, but not the managing director posts generally. These are the business leaders, these are the most shrewd industrialists, these are the ones who are able to use laws, regulations and conventions, work within boundaries, but also push the boundaries to come out with new products and come out with new ideas, new conventions, and through that get success. So communication is important. Without communication you don't go anywhere, but communication using a WhatsApp, using communication through a TikTok, or using communication through through Facebook, through Twitter, all these are new modes of communication. These are all wise, because this is faster, this is stronger, and this is more active, and this gives you success immediately. And these are sticking to conventions, yet going out of the boundary and out of the box. And that's why Saturn and Jupiter energies are very strong energies and very complementing energies, and energies of being the top of the grade. The best thinkers, the most wise people, the leaders, those people who give the wisest counsel to the managing director, the board of directors, or those who are other board of directors but may not be the chairperson. These are all people with Saturn and Jupiter combinations or in mutual aspect to each other. Then the top of the top line is Jupiter and Sun aspect on each other. Sun is brightness, Sun is leadership, Jupiter is wisdom. A very wise leader, a very sound leader who depends on the wise counsel of others, which depends on the wise traditions, successes, who does not recreate something which is not broken, but yet has the leadership and the thought to expand and push beyond the boundaries and to get success. A very, very powerful combination, a very, very powerful mutual aspect, except Jupiter and Sun should not be in the same house, but under 7th aspect from each other. Then these are the leaders who are huge political success, who have huge success in arts, these have huge success in literature, these have huge success in engineering, in marketing, these are huge success in any public oriented roles. Any public oriented roles where you need to be in touch with the masses, or you are a star, you are a celebrity, Sun and Jupiter combination will take you there. So important energies influencing each other will get you there. Venus and Mercury energies, for example, a very youthful energy, a very, very materialistic energy, very sensual energy. But Mercury is the planet of analysis, of calculation, and Venus is about the sensual pleasures. So it is the young boy who is trying to find out, how do I court that girl, how do I date that girl, and youth who is calculating that I need to, where can I spend 10 rupees less, or maybe 50 pence less on a burger that I get, yet I get good quality, and yet I need to have a good time with my friends out. That is the combination of a Mercury and a Venus. They are very tactful, they are very planned, they are very analytical. They are also complaining if they don't get a good deal. They are also the people who will exert themselves, but yet who will be friendly, who will be soft, who will be nice, who will be loving, who will also be caring, but who will also know, they will have a lot of youthful exuberance and a lot of sportiness and a lot of youthful energy. Moon and Venus on the other hand is the lover, the writer, the soft mushy energy, good looks, the combination of a model, the combination of a good looking celebrity who uses their looks and the artful demeanor or their language or the communication or the acting ability to rise to the top. If sun combination is there, then they become the brightest of the bright. So friends, look into what are the energies which are combining in your horoscopes through either mutual aspect or through the special aspect, like Saturn influencing Mars with its 10th aspect and Mars aspecting Saturn back with its 4th, or Jupiter aspecting Rahu with its 5th aspect, while Rahu aspects Jupiter back with its 9th aspect, or you can substitute Rahu with a Ketu here, and the 7th aspect of Moon on Saturn or Saturn on Mars, Mars on Sun, and so on. So look into what are the combinations you have in your horoscope, understand the combinations very well, because one planet is influencing the other and changing some demeanor of its manifestation, changing some of its attribute, changing some of the result that it can give. So don't miss that, because then you will not be able to understand the nature of the combination well and not be able to use and extract and manifest it well. So understand the combinations of in your horoscope of planets which are visually aspecting each other or through a special aspect, and use the energies and the complementary energies well to your advantage. So friends, please like this video, please share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation for me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend, astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.